Okay. So I'm going to regret this. But I picked up this game because it was dirt cheap. And that's kind of the main reason I got it. So this is Tiny Bunny. It's currently in early access on Steam. It had a warning at the start. And I think I should really pay attention to the warning. But I didn't. I loaded up the game anyway. So this is the game I'm playing. This is going to end badly for me. So yeah, time to enjoy, I guess. Oh, double check the settings. Always double check the settings. Yeah, those are good. Alright, new game. Let's go. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like an hangry beast. And an endless song weaved from all sorts of voices. Shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing. And angry about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot in its day and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves. There was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all. Still. Episode 1. The owl will arrive. Oh.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Hey, put your book away. I only turn off voices if it's going to be... Oh. Jesus. Oh. How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Have my book. I didn't protest and put the book away about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Olya had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was enthusiastic. She looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finished all of it. I, on the other hand, was trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy and anxious whirled up inside, all because of the precious sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Kostaru Odyssey. I loved that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Or how cold the Black Forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. Mum showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Katerina? Hey, that's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. Sure, she sure was a rascal damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar. Though. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting under this table. I wonder, was Mum afraid of the dark back then? All the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thickest fog? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mum's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, while Elder sleeps nowadays, and saying, this is her soft, smooth voice. Nice. Takia, is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. Oh, no, that's not one. Perfect. If you're a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anyone. Never yelled, never swore. And those were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of the conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket. And she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet patiently. It was back upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all of the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grey faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland creature. I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There are a lot of dark pine outside, and they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass. Olia, look, it's a fox. Where? It looked almost like optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at first, guys, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. Not outside, on the window. Look, there's the nose, and here's... Hey, eat up. Yes, just a moment. I didn't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left. Ah! There it is! But it still doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you it does. Nuh-uh. It does. Stop it! These kids, I swear. No, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty pattern similar to sketched out nettle leaves kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long measured steps.
Lexikitty 666 cheered. X100. This is to celebrate Noodles starting to feel better.
Yeah. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mum would always ask jokingly, come on, shave it off, it stings. This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, what's the point of this, though? The wall. That's because he shaves it. It's all for your sake, Dad would reply. For the sake of our family. He always caught every sound in fear of hearing the dreaded and the deadliest word that started with a D. Devo? I didn't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken to 2 different families. Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window. Did you and your owl talk again? You said you believed me just yesterday. Has anybody seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Right. Maybe you did, and maybe you didn't. And maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of 2, and still. Corinne, please, stop. Just let me get ready in peace. Your keys are in the basket near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already. But the owl. There was no owl. But there was one. It was it had giant glowing eyes. Olga sprung up from the chair and placed her hands in her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with the fingers and the size of an apple each. Last year you had Baba. Does that tell me what that? Oh shit! Wait. Oh. Wait. Aha. Well, you can stop with that noise. Last year you had Biba in your closet, and now this owl? But I saw it! Alda shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mum to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice? Don't bully our girl. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olya pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase led to the 2nd floor creaked. Mom gave her a strict look. And that look in her eyes, it's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just nodded in reply and left, ringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on the incredibly worn-out cassette tape which Dad already had to glue together once. It was so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mum moved to the living room and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances out the window. Ollie had trouble sleeping since we moved to this house. She would toss and turn and curl up in a ball under the blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take our mind off of the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And then Ollie said she saw a giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Ollie refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words and what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There are a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long, twisting hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Wouldn't they gang up on me and beat me down? Stomp on me with their bloody shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. Really, it doesn't really matter what I did. I wouldn't want to go there that badly. I wouldn't want to see people who just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some kind of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olya begged me to hang them Drawing was the only thing that made her happy as of late. Small circles of friends I had also the small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mum picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds, just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates would like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, Dad used to wear thick glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet. My mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners on the closet cobwebs and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my diseased family, with their ashen eyes, were hanging on the walls in place of drawings. And up and button. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was accompanied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized, in fact, hearing music, it was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed to the sound of the wind, of the cracking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone was playing there amidst the snowy night, right? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out with the dark forest as a backdrop.
Lexikitty 666 cheered. X100. This stream is brought to you by 4 well-fed rats and 1 happy rat dad.
Black silhouettes I could barely make out with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled up around, and crawled on their all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. Whoa. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with great leaps. Well, that's creepy. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any paw prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like a bird inside of a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to the unwanted guests move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with the blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remember the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing on up on her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside the sockets. She'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the procedure. And now, lying under the blanket, listening to the squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Bayan, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under my blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at the wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the night of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. And now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of the doorway. 2 9. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings, squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling and snared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. 2 9. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tosha, you asleep? My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Olya? I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck up her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. It's there again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tosha, please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a moment ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to hurt you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video. Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince, and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon. The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by my grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair. Tosha, you coming? Yes, just a moment. Oh, fucking hell. Well, that was fucking creepy. Whew. That's why I don't want to laugh at Olya and Al in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled, just like a silly thought that our morning guest could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet. Under the table. Behind the curtains. Where Alya always hides. Tosha, come here. I felt like kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. What does worry smell like? My mum always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars. Worse than bandits. At the moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer who wore a grim expression nodded. A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name was Vova. Vova. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photo to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a wool carpet at the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window. That's right. Your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes... His stare, long and heavy... His stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his great shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway. The stairway, the creaking in the ceiling, which I hadn't noticed before for some reason. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything is alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his grey eyes, and his head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice, to look like a polite boy to end his unpleasant conversation sooner. No, I think... now that I think about it, you look like one of our nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age. Wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. He told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited this summer. Want to help other people, just like me, you see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home and steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. My mum interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Well then. What grade are you, Anton? 6th? Have you seen any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then I'll leave you and your... Then I'll leave you my number, just in case. Call me if you have any new info. The policemen were gone, along with their shadows. The smell of cheap cologne and the photograph of a smiling boy. His face stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him, being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I got missing? Would they cry and thrash around hysterically? Or would they accuse each other like they always do? And forget about me, eventually. Mom? This vulva? This vulva? Did he go missing in the forest? In our forest? Seems like it. Poor child. I looked out the window at the road. The police... You were driving off towards the village. There we go, got glossary. Okay, so that's a Slavic folklore. A nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children. Oh, good parents. A Soviet and Russian off-road freight passenger brand, which was produced by produced on that one car factory. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. Black Kitty, a series of contemporary Russian original or translated teen mystery books. Your average boys and girls invested all sorts of mysteries there. Investigated. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, BAM! Solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. And there's a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest. And then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start investigating on my own? Maybe I'll find that lost boy. And I'll get a reward. Olya will be so happy. And not only Olya, Mum and Dad too. Maybe they'll even forget about their quarrels for a while. Maybe they'll even save us from the D word. I fantasized about buying Olya a Tamagotchi and getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. When was the last time our parents bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think. My dad lost his job at that time, and there was that annoying song about it. Accountant. A song by an all-female Soviet band by the name of Combination. They became wildly popular in the early 90s. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. But nowadays, Mum and Dad barely had enough money to afford sweets. And Dad was always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olya. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was always just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'll go outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next? The forest is so thick. What if the boys got snatched up by the wild animals or something even worse? Even worse? Echo through the hallway. I wouldn't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said? Or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag and play with Olya. The sounds of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mum had the last word. The dark, stuffy closet. Mum says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? She hates where I stick my nose in here. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Olya can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Baibai is living here. I tried to help her fight her fears once. She took the door and turned on a dim lamp. There we go, lamp word. So she could see there was nothing but cobwebs, Dad's tools, and scratched walls. She still didn't believe me. I like to hide in the closet and listen to Olya's count outside. 1, 2, 3. Better hide from me. And then drag her feet on the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. To the kitchen! What's in the fridge? What's in the freezer? Grandma kept ice cream for me and Olya, but now I can only see meat bits for soup and clumped together polmina. I grew to hate them already. Telling me a Russian variety of dumplings made by boiling them thin, unleavened dough filled with mincemeat. One may even call it a Russian fast food. Wow, sounds horrible. Anton, I'll whip you if you make a single step out the door. Okay, so I need to lie to her. It was difficult to lie to Mum, but there was no other way for me to run away from home. Mom, something's wrong with the TV. The picture is dim and there are all stripes all over the screen. Mum's face became visibly distorted. Ah, you're killing me here. So have you had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Told you the kaleidoscope will go dim because of your console. Oh, shit, wrong one. Where will we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings. Please, go see for yourself. Strange, it worked for me in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it. Mum rubbed her hands clean in her apron and went to Olya's room. To the front yard. Bye. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mum wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance towards the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. That hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant, ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So sad I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit. Our one-way trip ended at the forest's piney stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone listening to them. But then always came with a ringing silence. Our apartment became numb. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mum and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was a previous life. Then they kissed with Olya's present. She always frowned and snorted in a funny way. But one day it all changed. Something important had left our home. And something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out and our parents hurriedly packed our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From whom, though? From the people with dead cold eyes, who sometimes visit us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms in the black ground in everything. And something far away in a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There was only me, this white field, and the wind. And wind was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. I looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. The knobby tree roots slivered under the snow like fat snakes. The rotting leaves and confectious needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickling branches entwined, bringing up the uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Why were they protecting the forest? Or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of those pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted midden. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-duck. Should I take it to the police? The senior officer looked gloomy, but he still reminded me of a Captain Casanova from my favorite TV show, The Streets of Broken Lights. The Streets of Broken Lights, a Russian mystery TV series telling a story of the daily life of Russian police officers. It's the longest running series in the history of Russian TV at the moment. He was also always anxious, with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this midden help them find the lost boy? Yova! A distant shout. I looked like it came from the river. Yova! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Voya! Vova! Resounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still. Something was unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally towards the ground. Its blackness. There's no one there, but just branches and roots. It's all my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. Oh, fucking don't like that. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for a moment, but then I turned my gaze back to the same place. It was gone. So it was my imagination after all? Silence regained for a painful long time. Oh, silence reigned for a painful long time. My muscles were twitching. My muscles were tightly sprung. My heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any movement, any small whisper from the thicket, I'd sprint. But nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the midden once more. I gotta take it. I decided to take the lonely midden from the branch. Yova! Stop it. Stop it. I stepped towards the bristling trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled hard on the branch cracked and the midden tore off, landing at my feet with a squishy sound. All too heavy and wet. I squeezed it without thinking and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny spring between the midden and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Oh, that's not good. I froze in place, studied my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of creaking branches invaded the silence. Didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. The snow was crawling me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice. Probably one for a reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. An animal roar behind me. It was so loud my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts, rather than a single one. My nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing, a hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. Felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious with quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the musty trap just to get caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in fear after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole and my soles were on the hard surface again. I reached the clearing with one jump and from there ran to the house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped to the doorstep and smashed into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to nudge the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in as if it escaped the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks while I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ear was louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mum had locked the door? Drowning in my fear, I pulled the doorknob back and it obediently gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch plank creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and couldn't click it into place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard from the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitful flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. My mum peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you never to slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from Mum, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it a last bit of strength that I had left my body to. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mum's expression had changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mum looked like the same as before those quarrels. I finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? Where did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like I was a very little and wanted her to cuddle me. But my mum regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was something chasing me, I thought. I started as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mum leaned towards me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant. She covered her mouth with her hand. Look over there at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once more. Again, my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I heard something scratching at the door, just like in my nightmare. Mum beckoned me with her finger and gathered all my remaining bravery to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. I could barely discern any hairy silhouettes swimming in the snow through icy wind patterns on the glass. Dogs! Just a Small pack of strays with no name or owner, barely reminded me of the hungry monsters that lived on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd be rather scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me like a bunny. And what if they were a rabbit? The smile had slowly disappeared from Mum's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attacked Olya? Mum? I wish your dad could shoot them all. Mum, look! They're alive! Huh? What? And they... are they your friend or foe? After all, make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants amongst a pack of small, stupid strays. And what for? What use do I have for this? Midden? Of course! A dark and steady midden that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hands. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mum. Mum, look at this Alice Volvers midden. The boy the police were asking for about in the morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on the tree. I can show where. Let's call the police right away. The officer had told us to. Mum, look. You. A shadow of doubt crept onto Mum's contorted face. As if I was trying to remember something distant. Like someone tries to remember their dream, but the image slipped away. Stop at this moment. Ollie will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all night. And you joke around like this? At the moment, I realized the midden was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, who cried wolf. Oh, don't just stand there. Come, take your pills. A golden-colored pill reminiscent of a death wasp fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and you... Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bit of medication, drinking it down with some similarly awful water that gave off a taste of chlorine. Maybe it wasn't Bubba's midden. Maybe it wasn't a midden at all. Just like the forest monsters. And all is ow. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect or the overexerted brain that didn't let fears inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawning difference along with it. Anton, you done? See? You can do it when you try. Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mum, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? That's just silly. Mum scrutinized me with her suspicious eyes. As if she wasn't sure. She was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that come from the forest. Was everything alright? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm alright, Mum. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The surface fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Aldo was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes and stopped before the sink and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna take a little quick break, And then we'll continue on. So we'll be right back. Okay. I've got... Oh, shit. Closed my thing. I got myself a beer, because I'm a little bit... This game is making me tense, so I need something to just slightly relax me. Because this game is fucking... Can be a little scary at times. A little bit scary. So I've got a beer just to keep me from going, panicking. So hopefully... Let's see if we can get finished. I'm going to finish one episode tonight. And then I'll save another episode for later. So this is... I think that's a Freddie Mercury poster. Don't recognise anything else here. There's cat. There's book. Nope. Dinosaur. Some kind of mech. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Liago's voices died down. I walked past Ali's bedroom and slipped into my own. Remix! One of my drawers was empty. I hid them in there. Where are you, Volva? Volva? Where's the vulva? Show me the vulva! This simple action drained the last piece of my strength from me. I sat on the bed. And only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. The room was down to medication or I took or the stress I underwent. The room began to distort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The corners of the bedroom were bent, undulated. The only thing in the whole room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor. It reminded me of burial sheets. Alia? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried lips. Yeah, Alia, it's so funny. The silhouette was unmoving. It was enveloped softly by the curtains, as if a thick layer of darkness, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, not a human being. I reached towards the curtains. Badum, badum. My beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holder when I pulled open the curtains. Don't you dare. Ah! God damn it. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning! A blindingly bright halo lit up above Ollie's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a light-woven child. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like Mum when she was little, before she put her sad mask of tiredness and switched to a commanding tone of voice. It's nothing, just... Ollie ran up to the table, eyes round, and asked, You stole something and hid it there. Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to my mind, the mitten hanging from the tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind the black trees. Ola could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. And show me. Swear that you won't tell anyone then when I show you. Olya wore a plotting smile. I swear on Mum's heart. I know she heard in one of her movies from the Pioneers we've watched. Pop it with that sound every time I open a glossary. Pioneer movement, an umbrella term for communist children organizations existing around the world. Somewhat reminiscent of the Scout movement. Don't say things like that. Olya nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. She was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olya leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like she was not just a simple. It looked like there was not just a simple midden, but some kind of exotic creature. Is this someone's mitten? She said that as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it and got lost himself. Now do you understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander into the forest, right? He must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. The police are going house to house showing his photo to everybody. Olya traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. And why are they going to the houses, not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police aren't scared of anything. They've already scouted the forest. Yeah, right. Flashed in her clouded mind. Did they really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? It's as if the case. How did they miss... If that's the case, how did they miss the midden? Or did it appear later for me? I changed the topic. As if trying to get Olya as far away as possible from the forest thicket. We may get a reward if we go and find this boy by myself. A lot of stuff like a Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is a TV show. Field of Wonders, a Soviet and Russian TV game show, still running to this day, coming out every Friday, can be described as a partially adapted version of Wheel of Fortune. Sounds cool, right? Olya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the owl got him? Nonsense! An owl wouldn't be able to lift a human? But you know what? I was picking my words with the utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... How should I put it? It's cursed or something. Just like the fairy tale. Like in a fairy tale. No, more like a spooky tape on our parents hid from us. Olya shivered and stole a glance at the window. I saw you running away. Someone was chasing you. No, it's just I was hurrying back home so Mum wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heartbeat was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and a small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mum won't even let me go outside. I'm like a princess in a tower. Can't get away. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one has ever died of boredom. And you have me and your cartoons. And Mum and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I wish for my next birthday? I'd wish for Mum and Dad to turn into children so we could go and play together like we used to. Yeah, and if we make them as small as bugs, we could place them into a little box. Olya giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Tosha, let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my little sister. I washed over by some sort of hideous apathy. I'm too tired, I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone and Mum is always busy. We can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. I know all of our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? And so much happens after that. Let's go, let's go! Maybe a little bit later. Should I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know. Let's go play hide and seek. No, Olya. Then draw me a dino. Olya, please. Draw it, draw it. Leave me alone already. I blurted out without even thinking. I was immediately taken aback. I never screamed at my little sister like that. Olya startled at me in shock. Her lips started trembling, a precursor to tears. My chest was heaving with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Olya from crying. Alright, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. I came up to her and put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Boo, you'll fall asleep again. I smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. I promise I won't. I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops! Well, close enough. Olya rubbed her eyes with a sleeve of pajama and shining eyes returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind the tape. The bread is fresh and just how you like it. Alright, but be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll get yelled at again. Wanna bet I won't spill it? The tape is somewhere at the nightstand. Go look for it. Yep. Olya disappeared into the doorway, dragging her feet into the neighboring room. Oh, we got Chip and Dale. What the fuck? Olya's countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Olya doesn't sleep without it. She digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. Oh, no, that is good. An old old photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was dark taiga forest, just like the one outside my window. The picture split in half. The picture split the screen in half. Something creeping resembling human speech was coming out the speaker. Just for a moment later, the scenery was again overshadowed by noise. Did it catch some rogue signal? Local TV station only showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently I used to always watch Robotech before school. It was so awesome. Maybe I should tinker with the antenna. Maybe I catch the channel again. On the other hand, Olya asked me to find the tape. It wouldn't be nice to disappoint her. But in my sleepy state, I don't have the strength to do it all of it. Let's find the tape. I sifted through the shelves full of dolls and blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. I found the tape I needed thanks to its shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. The tape inside rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. The drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. Images whirled in my head, me and Olya flying above the forest, trembling in the soft cloud. My little sister is laughing, but her smile becomes more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, burying the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slept among the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us and Olya. You haven't started without me, have you? My sister brought the tray with unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. No, come sit. Mom and Dad are arguing again. They're going through rough times. Rough times are lame. Oh, okay, on the screen, Wendy was holding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser. Alia was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too. Yeah, right. I'll have my dog in the Neverland. And a cat. And a parrot. Alia smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. Have you lost all your baby teeth? Obviously. Alia frowned deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go to his land with adult teeth? I'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. And why would Dad forge documents? Alda took a bite of a sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. Harold, Mum did that before. He did that before. You'll grow ears as big as Dumbo's. Alda got worried and touched her ear. I smiled to myself. My little sister was silent now. She just devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. As if she snuck into a fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I was also imagining myself there in a land where no one ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sound of broken plates at night. It felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. Then my sister's scream pulled me back into reality. Tasha, shut the curtains fast! Why? No one's watching you. It's dark when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared. Got on my bed fighting my drowsiness and closed the curtains. I did my best not to look outside towards the treetops, towards Tiger Forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadow's branches scraping the snow. Tasha, Mum thinks I made up the owl. Dad too thinks I'm a liar, since I'm small. But the owl exists. Honestly it does. You do believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Ola's hand and looked her in the eyes. I was trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. But did I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright. Just don't nag our parents about it anymore. They're already dealing with a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist, never existed. Like it's made up, just like Mom and Dad say. And I'll get tired of waiting and fly away. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing happened, as if the forest didn't know kidnapped kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from Crocodile, and Captain Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. By some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. All his eyelids had dropped, and she started snorting lightly, resting her chin on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Ollie's room. I was looking out the window, studying the field, when Mum peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day at school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should sleep properly. You don't want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Adults think everything is so simple. As if sound sleep would ensure classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming to something invisible rustling in the corners. My inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear the mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just part of my growing up, I can't fully understand my own desires. The forest wailed behind the barrier that was my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if I was calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into a slumber. And it came, after all. Oh, wait, I read that wrong. It has come after all. The day I feared the most. The day of a new school term. Yeah. Okay, well, I said I was going to play one episode. I think that is enough for now. We'll save it. Ready for episode 2 next time. It's a short video, but yeah, I just want to make a short one. I thought it was gonna be like 2 hours, but I guess it's shorter. That's fine. We got. I don't want to cause myself too much problems for tomorrow. I want to be able to sleep tonight, so we'll stop there and then play some more another time. Not quite sure when. Probably sometime next week. But for now, I bid you all a farewell, and we'll see you next time on my streams. Yay. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you could come and check out some of the other videos on my channel, that would be really nice. Really help me out. If you want to click the like, hit the bell, click subscribe, do all the things on YouTube that people always suggest. So if you could do that, please consider it. Thank you.